Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the August 8th edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. Yeah, it feels like August 8th. It's a warm one, warm, humid, and we're gleaming on it, though. We like it, gleaming with it, in it, whatever. So I got my great guest tonight on Topic Time. Before we get to him, got to read the underwriters. Another great guest as usual, another great show. We got Sparky's Automotive in Whitman. They're a new one. We got Johnny Macaroni's Restaurants in East Bridgewater and Halifax, 2 in East Bridgewater, 1 in Halifax. We got John's Greenhouses and Florist Shop in Brockton. We got Shovel Shop Spirits right here in Easton. We got T. Martini and Son Floor Covering in Abington. And we got Chapin Sheds in Whitman. I want to thank you guys very much. And now we will start the show officially. Here we go. Okay, again, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Okay, another gentleman from the film industry that I got for the show this week. This is Adam Griswold. He's a film director. I don't know if he's an actor. Are you an actor too?
I am an actor too.
He's an actor too. Yeah. We got it all tonight. So we're going to talk to him. We're going to possibly look at some footage about halfway through the show. So Adam, thanks for making the trip down here tonight to be on Topic Time.
Thank you for having me, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, like I do with all my guests, I like to backtrack and find out how they got to where they're at. So let's go back to, you know, when you were a young guy, childhood. You're still a young guy, I can see that. But how did you get into the film industry? And just, you know, elaborate little by little as far back as you can remember. And if I have any questions, I'll hump them your way. So go ahead.
I mean, well, sir, I just can remember being a kid and just having movies in my head. You know, my brother and I would.
Any particular movies?
What?
Any particular movies that were in your head? I mean, movies that you like seeing in the theater, or just ideas?
Well, just ideas of my own.
Okay.
Like my own ideas. Like
Gotcha.
my brother and I would like do stuff with toys, and I would envision it cinematically. So, you know, growing up, even as a kid, I'd always kind of had this idea that I wanted to make movies, and I would, you know, write stories. But even then, I was kind of seeing them as films in my head.
Cool.
So it was really when I got to middle school, high school, I would occasionally, you know, certain classes would assign a video project. You know, my town didn't really have much of a film or video program, but like a history.
Where did you go to high school?
In North Reading.
Okay.
North Reading High School. And occasionally they'd assign like a history research project where you could, you know, research certain subjects and present it, you know, in a video format. And
okay.
So I really, you know, would get into
what
that.
kind of class? Was this a film class? Or
it wasn't a film class. It was like just a history class.
Oh, okay.
But they'd, you know, once or twice a year there'd be a certain project.
Okay.
Where they'd ask you to make a video.
There you go.
And so, yeah, I would, you know, get.
You're right. You sound like you grew up in the age of the millennial, because when I was in junior high, we didn't have video cameras in school.
Yeah. Well, even then, even starting out, they weren't the video cameras like we have now.
Right. Obviously.
I'd be, you know, putting a VHS tape and a VCR and pushing stop record just to get the right footage that I want. And then it was about halfway through high school that I actually got digital editing software, and that was when I was really able to make films the way I wanted them to.
Cool. Okay, but this wasn't for social study, or this was for your own filmmaking purposes, correct?
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of both at this point.
Okay.
You know, I would do this stuff for school, and then I'd have, you know, my brother and my cousins, we would get together and we'd come up with ideas and we'd shoot stuff in the summer and stuff.
Well, it sounds to me like what you're saying is that your stuff that you did in high school in that history class, I mean, you always had the ideas to make films, but this really lit a fire under you to really make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a high school that I really started getting into it, being like, this is what I want to do. And so then I ended up going to Emerson College.
Oh, that's right. You're an Emerson grad.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
So
Great school.
Yeah. So
okay.
I went there for film production.
Okay.
So it was after I got out, then I started finding local productions around New England that, you know, needed help, and started meeting people, and then within just a couple of years, realized, hey, I can do this, and started getting people together and making my own films.
Wow. Okay. So you basically, now when you were in Emerson, did you compile a cast to do any films there?
Not a whole lot. I took classes and did some student films there. But,
I understand. You did. And you an actor too. So you did. So which obviously now right now are you a full-time director or an actor or both still?
I do. I mean, my main focus is directing, and I'll act. I mean, I used to. For a while, I was acting in my own films. I didn't act in the last couple that I did. But then in a few times, you know, people would see my performances in my own films and then want to cast me in other things.
Perfect.
So that happened.
Okay, and speaking of people like that, can you name a few? Anyone that I might have had on the show, or people, any of the indie filmmakers that are well known around here that you've worked with? I mean, that's what I'm asking you. Like that you've collaborated with, or?
Oh, well, I mean, I was on Paragods for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good old Sean Barek. What's his name?
Sean Allen.
Sean Allen. Sean Allen, right?
Yeah, yeah, he saw the film I did, because I had already helped out with the second season and then created a character on that, so I ended up being on like 3 seasons of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to go. You went up to Lansdowne, New Hampshire for that one.
Sandown, New Hampshire.
Sandown, Lansdowne, Sandown, same thing. That's my stupidity. I'm sorry about my mispronunciation. I know I was in a couple of their episodes too, and I did a 5 years ago. I actually did a topic time on set interview with the cast members of that. Yeah. And they're still doing it now, right?
It just ended.
Forever?
We just did the last episode. We shot it in April and it aired in June. So
okay,
yeah,
no more Paragods?
Paragods is over now, yeah.
Oh, after a while there was a great series.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you have a regular role in the later episodes? I don't remember seeing you in the earlier ones, so.
No, it was like.
Oh, you were behind the scenes.
I was behind the scenes a little bit in season 2. Then season 3 was when I started playing my character.
And which was what?
Which was Bob, the acting chief of the department, after John's character got fired. I was his temporary replacement for season 3 and 4, and then stayed on through season 5.
Cool. So you were probably there for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Great acting resume for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had any roles in any major films?
No, not really.
Never had any extra roles?
No, I haven't really done much of that.
Okay, so you're basically, but that's okay because you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk about some of the projects in your post high school and college life that you've created yourself. I take it you've written some film scripts, correct?
Yeah, I've written. I do everything. I write, direct, produced, and
right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the projects you've completed already, and then we'll look at a couple, a little bit of what you're going to throw together for the audience to see.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I've done a lot.
All right. Well, just think back. Take your time. And name some of your favorite pieces that you
favorites.
Yeah. Well, and describe them a little bit.
All right. Well, I'll start with the most recent, just so
that'll work.
Make sure we cover everything. I just finished a feature-length musical film, QUIREWOOD the musical. That took a long time to do. It took us like about 2.5 years. So it was a musical set in a mental institution.
Okay.
We.
Did you actually shoot it in a mental institution?
We shot it at a floor of a nursing home that that isn't really used for much besides storage.
Okay.
So on weekends we'd go up there and it would be empty.
It must have worked out for you so it must have, if you had a low budget, you didn't have to spend too much to do that.
Yeah, it took us a while to nail down that location, but once we did it, it was really convenient.
So this was a film about a musical musical nursing home or a musical mental hospital?
Well, it's a film set in a mental hospital, but we did it as a musical where we had a bunch. I wrote a bunch of, because I wrote the script. I wrote songs into the script, and we recorded those, and so actors are bursting into song for all the major stories.
Sounds like a silly parody of something.
Yeah, well, it's parts of it are silly, but parts of it are serious.
Okay,
it's a mix of comedy and drama.
And that leads me to my question about music. Are you musically inclined? Do you play any instruments, sing, dance, whatever?
I'm not super musically inclined. I used to, play a little bit of percussion in high school, but
You mean drums?
Got out. Yeah, but I haven't done that in years. And I would sing a little bit too, but for the musical, my main musical contribution was just writing the lyrics. I wrote all the lyrics in the script, and then other people.
Oh, put the music.
Brian Niedermeyer and Renee Bergeron were our
the
main
notes
music
in,
people.
right? The other people put the notes in.
They actually composed the melodies and orchestrations.
Okay.
Yep.
That's crazy. So, did you write yourself into the script in this film?
That was the one I didn't write myself into.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was one that. Most of the films, it would be just me producing by myself. That one, there was a whole group. There was me, Hannah Heckman McKenna, Riven Girl Hart,
I remember
Brian
Hannah.
Niedermeyer.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we all came together and developed the story together, and so that kind of made it different from the other films that I'd done myself. So I didn't end up writing a role for myself into that one.
Okay, but you wrote it, and this was a full-length feature, you said, right?
Yeah, full-length feature, 2 hours long.
2 hours long, and it took. I assume you said it took a couple of years to complete.
Yeah, mostly that was with the music. It was just getting the music orchestrated and composed and everything.
As far as getting the music is concerned, did anybody actually play music on the in the background? In other words, rather than how did you get the soundtrack? Did you actually have people creating it in the background?
Yeah, well, we started out. We started out 2 years ago. In the summer, we rehearsed the music with all the actors so they knew the songs. And so
Right.
then like at the end of that summer, we went and we recorded all the music, all the actors' vocals. And so we had, on set we would have tracks where there were just the actors' vocals and like a basic piano track or just basic orchestration.
Okay.
And so then we would play those back on set and everyone would sing along to those.
Okay.
And so then it was after that that I sent the music to Brian and Renee, our music people, and they put in all the orchestration and then added the score. And that was what ended up taking over a year to.
Okay, so when did the film finally emerge to premiere?
We premiered just couple weeks ago.
Okay, where did it premiere?
It premiered in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
At Chunky Cinema Pub. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you planning on sending it around to any festivals?
Yeah, already submitted to festivals, and I'm in the process of trying to line up a couple more screenings that I'll hopefully be announcing pretty soon.
Cool. Yeah. Anything down near Boston?
Yeah.
Oh, I figured there would be
Boston area.
eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully.
Okay. So this is your most recent project, and it must be wonderful. What were did you get any review? And what were the reactions to the initial premiere? Did they
seem to be positive? Yeah.
Positive.
People,
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to like media coverage, have you been on other TV shows before?
Yeah, I've been on some other
cable
shows like this. Like
yeah,
local,
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what about like what else did you do in school? Anything extracurricular? Anything athletic, sports? Any debating? Were you on the debate team? You sound like you like to talk.
Well, I did music stuff and I did theater, so that was where I started acting.
Okay,
so
this was.
I did a lot in high school.
In high school, yeah.
I did theater. I did a couple plays and musicals, so that was kind of where that. And then I sort of got out of that when I went to Emerson for a while, but then I started doing my own films. It actually, I got back into acting.
Okay, yeah.
It really started almost by accident. The first film I really produced post-college.
I always say everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it was this sort of like found footage, fake documentary thing where we're in the woods, and I figured it's like, okay, it's easiest if I just play the guy who's holding the camera because it makes it that much easier for me to direct. And so I did that. This was called the Dolchemok Tapes is the name of the film. And I just enjoyed, remember, I forgot how much I liked acting. And so then it was after that that I started writing myself roles in my own scripts.
Of course.
And then it's really only with QUIREWOOD and the last short film I did that I haven't done that, but I'm sure I will again in the future.
Okay. The last short film, what was that?
That was Lights, Camera, Terror.
Okay.
That was that actually was entirely shot and produced during the time I was waiting for the music for QUIREWOOD to be done.
Oh, okay.
I had a break, so I got that done. So that was actually based on an old script that I wrote 8 years before it was shot.
Right. Okay.
Based when I was first first out of college and starting to work on local films. I worked on some crazy horror movies and just got inspired to write this silly short script about a horror movie that's shooting in a house that's actually haunted and all kinds of stuff goes wrong and people start dying in amusing ways. And
okay, so, you like the macabre stuff, obviously.
In some cases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wrote the script, never got around to doing it. Then really just about a year or so ago, I was waiting on the QUIREWOOD music to be done, was looking for something to do, read it, and was like, this is actually really funny. I want to do this. And so then I ended up shooting it last fall.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you shot it during the time where you were able to actually intertwine two projects at once. The short one and the long one.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, you obviously know how to budget your time very well.
Yeah.
Which is incredible considering how long it takes to do a major film.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what are you working on now? Anything new?
Well, now I'm in the point where all of this is done, and I'm now trying to figure out what do I do next. I have a couple ideas kicking around in my head. I have a couple of scripts I could look back at, and so I'm not totally sure what's next. But I'm sure within the next month or so, I'm hoping to figure that out.
Well, it sounds to me like you've written some scripts that you haven't started yet. Is that true? Like and it sounds to me, how much now? This is an off-the-cuff question, but let's say in terms of quantity of pages, how many scripts do you think you have that you haven't even began yet?
Oh, wow.
Just ballpark it. It sounds like you got a lot, which is
is
good because it's going to keep you busy for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, I mean, I probably won't get around to every single script I've ever written.
Right, that's what I mean.
I've probably got like 6 or 7 feature-length scripts that are written that have never been produced, and some probably never will be. But but even then, like I've drawn, like last summer I wrote a script that took elements from a script I wrote back in high school. Certain characters and scenes where it was overall a different story. But
right.
It's like, oh, I like this character, and this was a really great scene, and so I did that. And even that script, the way it is, I might not do it, but I know there's good stuff in that I could continue to develop.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to take a little break and look at some of your footage. So, folks, check out some of the footage of Adam Griswold, and I guarantee you're gonna say that this guy is an original, incredible talent. And we'll be right back to continue our discussion. Here we go.
Of the Space Squad, and this is my crew. This is a matter of galactic security. My arch-nemesis, Lady Gravitox, has captured Princess Altima, the President's daughter. And if we don't act soon, the entire galaxy could be at her mercy.
Are you telling me that you really think that you're from another planet?
Well, we don't think we are. We know we are, obviously. Wait, you don't believe we're really a star skimmer crew from across the galaxy?
This is not what I signed up for.
Leave that on. I want to leave that on for this scene.
The lens cap?
What do you want from me?
I know how to do this right. These ghosts will hurt you if you don't respect them.
There are no ghosts in this house.
We're going to finish this movie. If we do it right, then these ghosts will be out of our hair.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Okay, we're back. Wasn't that amazing? So tell us about that. You give us a little synopsis of what we just saw.
Well, I'm sure we just saw stuff from the films we already mentioned. From
Right. Okay.
QUIREWOOD, from Lights, Camera, Terror, and like Space People, the two films I did, the two sci-fi movies I did over a couple of years that had a lot of success. Those are on Amazon Prime right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Talk about Talk about the sci-fi stuff, because I want to know how you go about doing your special effects. Let's hear.
Yeah.
So let's break it down a little bit.
Yeah, so that was, a few years back, someone suggested the idea, hey, you should do a space movie. Because actually it was because a few years before that, I'd done 3 Cartoon Man movies. Those were all...
Were those animated?
They weren't, well, they were all partly animated.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind those was that I play this character who gets doused with magical ink and then starts turning into a cartoon character.
Okay.
But, I didn't have the capability of doing real quality animation, so I would just wore these big cartoon gloves and just acted crazy. But then I had some animated effects, like I'd pick up cartoon props, and so I ended up making 3 of those movies. And then in the 3rd one, we shot the whole thing in front of a green screen.
Green screen, yep.
And I made all these cartoon backgrounds and
Cool.
all this stuff. And so then it was a couple years after that, one of the actresses who was in those movies, Rebecca Howland, who I worked with a bunch of times,
okay.
she said, you should do a space movie because you can do effects and stuff. So then really about 24 hours after that comment, I came up with this whole idea for Space People. And initially I really wasn't sure how I was going to do that because, with the Cartoon Man movies, it was like, it made sense in the story why all the effects were these just 2D, two-dimensional flat things that looked really cheesy. But with, if it wasn't that, how was I going to do it? So it took me a while to think about it. And what I really ended up doing with the Space People films was I just leaned into the cheesy aesthetic of the whole thing. It's like I know this is going to look ridiculous, so just have a sense of humor about it.
As it should be.
Yeah. And
right.
so
okay.
So part of the joke is, we play these characters who we wear these really cheap-looking spacesuits that I got.
Okay.
And a few people have wigs and some weird makeup and stuff, and we're walking around telling people that we're aliens and we need to, contact our home base so we can get back to our mission. But no one we meet, everyone just assumes we're people in ridiculous costumes. How could these people really be aliens?
Okay, but that's cute. I mean, that's a great idea.
And so that was kind of the whole genesis of that idea.
Okay. Have you ever considered doing maybe a time travel film?
Oh, it's something. Yeah, it's passed through my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be really cool. Being able to, to me, the best. As somebody who loves sci-fi, my favorite. There's two kinds of sci-fi. Space travel is awesome. The only problem with that is that how is it? We don't know what space people look like. Number one, we can't really, we can begin to guess.
That's the joke about with space people is that we all
can
look
joke
like
about it,
humans,
which you did
and no
great.
one believes. Everyone's like, that doesn't make sense. Aliens would never look like humans. So yeah.
But to be able to do a really authentic seeming piece on time travel, like whether you travel 1,000 years into the future and make it look authentic and give people a belief that it's really happening, or even 1,000 years into the past, and then maybe combine them. If you could do something like that, that would really be cool. And it sounds to me like you have pretty good knowledge of special effects. Is that true? And people.
Yeah. Well, I can figure out how to do the relatively basic special effects. I can figure out how to do what I want. It's not going to look Hollywood quality, but if you're with a certain aesthetic, I can figure it out.
Okay. No, right, exactly. But it sounds now you do. I take it you do your own editing.
Yeah, I do all my own editing.
You do your own editing. Okay. And you have a studio, or do you do it on your home?
Yeah, I do it in my house.
You do it in your house, okay.
Computer, yeah.
Okay, and I assume when you were editing that film you talked about, what was it called? The mental hospital, the musical?
QUIREWOOD, yeah.
What was it?
QUIREWOOD, the
QUIREWOOD,
musical,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, I assume you must have spent like hours every day doing that.
With all of them, I spend.
Right.
Yeah, I spend once when I have something. That's what all my time goes to. I'll sit and I'll edit for a few hours, take a break, come back for a few more hours. I'm constantly working on these, and they'll take months and months, most of them.
Okay, and you know exactly what you want, and you're good at it. Now I know how hard editing is. It's not like riding a bike where you do it once and you got it down for life. You got to do it every day to stay good at it. Obviously that's the case with you. So how do you go about compiling the people to audition for your films?
Well, what I've done, I initially started. I'd put casting calls on New England Film and have a few people come and audition. And so what I always would do is I'd send an email out to everyone who was in any previous films I did, say, hey, I'm doing another film, who wants to be part of this? So from that, I'd be able to usually, check off a few roles from people from past films, and then I'd, figure out what other characters I needed, put up another thing on New England Film and cast through that. And so, I mean, I haven't really done a full casting call in a while, because now I've built up a pretty good-sized network.
So you have a lot of people, you have a lot of go-to people.
Yeah, and then with QUIREWOOD, like I mentioned, there were a group of producers, so we were all able to bring people in with that.
Oh, there were. So you compiled a team of people behind the scenes as well as actors.
Yeah, well, more so actors, because it's hard to find people to work behind the scenes, but a lot of the people who are actors do both. So people will step up and will help. A few of them will help step up and help out behind the scenes.
So you basically you don't really have a regular crew of people, that when you want to produce a film that are at your beck and call to do all the special effects and all the gaffing and whatever else goes into the making of the film.
Yeah, I mean, most of the behind-the-scenes stuff, it's like I know I'll do it myself, and again, a few of the people who I work with.
So you're basically able to pretty much do it yourself anyway.
Yeah.
All the sound, all the equipment.
Yeah, I've built up equipment over the years.
Right. You build up the equipment, and whatever metamorphoses are needed, you do in editing anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Have you ever acted in anything other than a film? You ever done or a web series? Ever done a TV commercial, a music video? Ever produced one? Anything like that?
I don't know. I don't. It's like I've done a lot of things. Because over the years I'll do a lot of. I'll focus on my own larger projects, but I'll do a lot of smaller things. I mean, I think most of them will be like short films. And
Series
and stuff.
So you never done a music video?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
always try to give advice to people, to my guests that might help them out. That might be something you might want to consider, because there's a lot of, if you like working with people in music, there's a lot of musical people out there. There's a lot of musicians out there that I'm sure are looking to produce a video. You might be able to help them out, make a little money on the side.
I mean, if anyone was looking for that, yeah. I mean, because parts of QUIREWOOD were like doing.
I mean, you'd be great at it. Obviously, you're not at it.
Yeah, where I'm, shooting people singing along to pre-recorded songs and editing it together.
That's my point. So and plus, you could storyboard it. You could create if you watch a music video, a lot of it is creating a story out of the lyrics, and I'm sure you'd be great at that. Advising the band and and helping them out and creating something. So I'm just saying you might want to reach out to people on musical websites as well as filmmaking websites too. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever done a documentary, a real one?
Documentary. Not maybe, this could be one of those things where after, as I'm driving home, I remember, oh yeah, that. I completely forgot to mention that because it'll happen when I'm having
Well, you just
conversations
mentioned
like
mentioned a little while ago that you did like a takeoff on yourself doing a documentary.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
that
like
wasn't a real.
I've
was
done
like
fake documentaries.
like a documentary within a documentary.
Documentaries,
Yeah, I got you. Not a real one.
Yeah, I mean, I've.
You got a cool sounding voice. Did you ever think of doing a documentary where you narrate it and talk about?
Yeah, I've had people tell me I should do stuff with my voice too. Yeah,
you should.
Yeah, I mean, I've done films where I've done narration and stuff. Though,
okay, so that's a start.
Yeah.
But I mean, something that maybe do like a little tour of Emerson, talk about Boston nightlife or whatever, something like that. You must know it because you did 4 years at Emerson, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you live on campus?
For the first 2 years.
Okay, well that's enough. So you know Boston, and yeah, it might be cool going around talking to people in the Common. You're right across the street from there when you were at Emerson.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Right, and or maybe talking. Have you never done like have you ever interviewed anybody yourself or anything?
I probably have for a couple things.
Probably. So it sounds to me like you've done so much that you can't keep track of it all.
It is yeah. I'm at the point where I've had people ask me, how many films have you done? And I'm like, 10? No, 12? I think it's 11.
Okay.
So it's, yeah.
Well, do you have it written down somewhere, you think?
What?
You have it written down, the number of films you've done? You must have
I have documents where I keep track of everything. So I know all of them. I can look and, check off everything I've done.
Okay. So how old was the youngest actor or the oldest actor you've ever had in any of your films, or actress? Ever used real little children or real old people? Because sometimes sometimes somebody like that really takes a film and runs with it for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I mean I've worked on. I don't think I've ever had any really young kids
in
my own films. I've worked on sets. Like actually, just recently, I worked on a set with a 3-year-old who was cooperative at the beginning, and then
the 3-year-olds are tough. I know.
Yeah. So and then
that's actually younger than my youngest guest, who was actually 5 when I interviewed her.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you have to do with this kid? Did you have to? Were you like directing this person?
Well, I was like I was running the camera.
Oh, I see.
I had someone who had an idea of what shots he wanted.
Okay.
So trying to get those, and so we got a couple shots, and then but it's like the first 2 shots were fine. Then the next 2 shots, he just didn't want to do it. It was just too much pressure with all the people there.
That is interesting that you had right. I mean, it's very challenging to work with a kid, someone that young.
Yeah. So it's like I think I have family members with kids who wouldn't do it, but I've never really written any parts for children into my own scripts.
Okay.
At this point.
You have children of your own?
No, I don't.
Good for you. Smart. You know what you? Yeah. I can understand your life is so busy with your filmmaking. To have your own family now would probably be counterproductive.
Yeah.
Okay. So going forward? Right now, you're not really at this point. You don't really have to
decide what the next thing is.
Exactly. Yeah. Deciding. Have you ever like done any travel and gone like to L.A. or New York to do any film shooting out there or plan to?
Well, I mean, I did when I was at Emerson. I did a program in Los Angeles for.
Oh, I heard about that. One of my other guests was an Emerson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that was before I was really filmmaking myself. So I interned at a place that I think they did like, behind the scenes features for DVDs and stuff, and I did that. But
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I'm entering. I've got QUIREWOOD and Lights, Camera, Terror in a bunch of festivals. In different places. I'm hoping to get those shown in different places, and if I can travel, I'd love to travel and
that might
network and meet people. Yeah.
Well, guess what? We're down in the final minute of the show. So why don't you give some shouts out to people real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. And then and hope we covered everything that you wanted to cover.
Yeah, we got through most of it.
All right, just say hi to the people real quick, and then the people that are in your films, people that if you want to, that's up to you. Just say hi to
Hi,
Mary Higgins. I know she knows you.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many people.
Right,
I feel like I'd forget someone.
I thought of her because she posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I've mentioned a few people already.
All right, you have. All right. Well, listen. I hope you had a good time with me tonight. I hope we covered sufficiently your plethora of stuff. And I want to. And I also, if you have any people that you've worked with that want to be interviewed, I'd love to interview them too. If I haven't already, you can send them my way. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up, folks. Thanks for watching Topic Time. More great episodes to follow. Take care. Here we go. Are you ready?
All right.
All right.